वितमतिशय व्याध्यभिमानग्रस्तं लोकं शोकहतं च समस्तं भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते यावद्वित्तोपार्जनसक्तः तावन्निजपरिवारो रक्तः पश्चाज्जीवति जर्जरदेहे वार्तां कोऽपि न पृच्छति गेहे भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं भज मूढमते यावत् पवनो निवसति देहे तावत् पृच्छति कुशलं गेहे गतवति वायौ देहापाये भार्या बिभ्यति तस्मिन् काये भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते बालस्तावत् क्रीडासक्तः तरुणस्तावत् तरुणीसक्तः वृद्धस्तावत् चिन्तासक्तः परमे ब्रह्मणि कोऽपि न सक्तः भज गोविन्दं भज मूढमते काते कान्ता कस्ते पुत्रः संसारोऽयमतीव विचित्रः कस्य त्वं कः कुत आयातः तत्त्वं चिन्तय तदिह भ्रातः भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सत्सङ्गत्वे निसङ्गत्वं निसङ्गत्वे निर्मोहत्वं निर्मोहत्वे निश्चलतत्वं निश्चलतत्वे जीवन्मुक्तिः गोविन्दं भज मूढमते वयसि गते कः कामविकारः शुष्के नीरे कः कासारः क्षीणे वित्ते कः परिवारः ज्ञाते तत्त्वे कः संसारः भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते मा कुरु धनजनयौवनगर्वं हरति निमेषात् कालः सर्वं मायामयमिदमखिलं बुद्ध्वा ब्रह्मपदं त्वं प्रविश विदित्वा भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं भज मूढमते दिनयामिन्यौ सायं प्रातः शिशिरवसन्तौ पुनरायातः गच्छत्यायुः तदपि न मुञ्चत्याशावायुः भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते काते कान्ता कस्तचिन्ता वातुलकिं तव नास्ति नियन्ता त्रिजगति सज्जनसङ्गतिरेका भवति भवार्णवतरणे नौका भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते Jatilo mundi lunchita keshaha Kashayambara bahukrita veshaha Pashyannapi cha na pashyati mudha Nimittam bahukrita veshaha Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam Angam galitam palitam mundam Dashana vihinam jatam tundam Vriddho yati grihitva dandam Tadapi namunchatyasha pindam Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam Bhaja mudhamate Agre vanhi prashthe bhanuh Ratrau chubuka samarpita januh Karatala bhikshastarutala vasah Munchatyasha pashaha Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam Govindam Bhaja mudhamate Kurute Ganga Sagara Gamanam Jnana Vihina Sarvamatena Bhajati na muktim janma shatena Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam Govindam Bhaja mudhamate Suramandira tarumula nivasaha Shayya bhutalamajinam vasaha Sarva parigraha bhoga tyagaha Kasya sukham na karoti viragaha Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam Govindam Bhaja mudhamate So we saw the last session that how this person who is described lives with bare essentials, but the attitude of dispassion that one has, because of that there is no dependence, and so the person lives in happiness. So what happiness is not available to a person who is detached, who is able to accept life as it is. Kasya sukham na karoti viragaha. So the source of fearlessness, happiness, freedom is viraga, detachment, which in other words is acceptance of life as it is and keeping the mind on something which is higher. Now comes the 19th verse where we see this is the goal of life which is described here, that this is the state of a realized master, and this is that which one is striving to attain. So that is the 19th verse here. Yogarato va bhogarato va Sangarato va sangavihinaha Yasya brahmani ramate chittam Nandati nandati nandatyeva Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam Govindam Bhaja mudhamate. I think Sunday morning, no, it is. That's why everybody is very dull. Chanting is so slow. You have to chant briskly. As it is chanting, one doesn't identify so much with. Uske upar, if it is done slowly, yoga rato va is finished. Repeat it together and briskly. Yogarato va bhogarato va sangarato va sangavihinaha yasya brahmani ramate chittam nandati nandati nandatyeva bhaja govindam govindam bhaja mudhamate. When we do this Bhaja Govindam for the youth, one of the things they come up on their own is they will sing Bhaja Govindam in rap style. For them to remember, because this tune will be, by the time they sing this and complete, they will be flat on the ground, sleeping. So they put it up in a very, like a catchy tune. So I think you should take that exercise. I give you different groups, make some catchy tune and sing it very dynamically. So this is the goal of life, yoga ratova, bhoga ratova. Whether one is engaged in yoga, that is withdrawal of the mind, or bhoga, enjoyment. Sangha ratova, sangha vihina, whether one is with people or without people. Yasya brahmani ramate chittam, one whose mind revels in Brahman. Nandati nandati nandatyeva, that person alone truly rejoices. So this describes the state. The third line in this shloka describes that state of the realized person. For us, what this should be applicable is whether fan is on or fan is not on, whether people are coming or people are not coming. Mind should revel in the study. Because constantly we keep getting disturbed by these small things. अभी फैन को चालू करो, अभी इसको कम करो, अभी इसको बढ़ा दो, अभी ये दरवाज़ा बंद करो, अभी दरवाज़ा चालू करो. Mind doesn't get focused. So here, yoga ratova, bhoga ratova. For a seeker, for an indulgent person, it is bhoga. Constantly one is indulging in the sense pleasure, not able to withdraw. For the seeker, there is the struggle to withdraw the mind from indulgence and focus on the self. But for a realized master, this is effortless abidance. Whether one is in the world, transacting with the world, or whether one is absorbed in a state of samadhi or meditation, the mind of that person remains the same, absorbed in the truth. Just like today we are so effortlessly aware that I am a man or a woman. Whether we are talking to people, whether we are in silence, working, sleeping, that effortless awareness of my true nature is called as moksha. That is called as self-realization. It is not an experience that comes and goes. Because many people think that way. Realization is an experience. Suddenly God will appear. Or suddenly some blue light will come. Or suddenly I will feel from inside that all my bondage is cut asunder. It is not an experience like that. It is effortless awareness born out of clarity of thinking as to who am I and the purity of the heart. Where the ego has been transcended, one has surrendered. That state is what the master is in. So having come to that state, whatever that person does, makes no difference to that person. Why? Because the false identification with the body, mind, intellect is gone. The ego has been transcended. And so whatever happens with the body, mind, intellect in the world outside does not affect the abidance of this person, does not contradict the knowledge of this person that I am the self. In a seeker's life, that is not like that. When we are coming for satsang, when we do our puja or japa or sadhana, that time we are able to maintain that attitude that I am a seeker. But the moment we go out, or that sadhana stops, or something else takes over, the attitude changes. Our identity basically. Somebody's mobile is on and they are not even aware.
Some sort of recording playing.
Not outside, it is here only. Our test is today. Is yoga rato va bhoga rato va. If any computer or anything is on now, switch off all the switches from below. Put off all the switches from below there. Oh, it was mobile. Okay. Okay. आ जाइए. So our identity keeps shifting because we don't have one identity in which we are centered. That's the difficulty. So when we play the role of a father, mother, son, employer, whatever that role is, sometimes we are not even able to play that role at that time properly because some other role is conflicting in the head. So our identity keeps shifting, and to keep this identity that I am a seeker in and through all these, that is difficult. That is sadhana actually. And how do I respond as a seeker at all times? If I am eating food, do I eat food like a seeker or do I eat food like a bhogi who is only eating for enjoyment? Does not bother whether it is good for the body, bad for the body, what it will do. Not that a seeker will not enjoy food, but the idea is that every response is based on the identity that I am a sadhak. If somebody has hurt me, how do I respond? Do I react? Do I plan to get back? Or do I say forgive and let go? If I have to, let us say, read something, what is my response when I read? How a seeker would respond every moment is the sadhana that a seeker must do. So from a bhogi one comes to a sadhak. But if I sleep, how much do I sleep? If I speak, how do I speak? What is it that I am really seeking in my life in and through whatever I am doing? If that becomes clear to me and I am with effort able to maintain that identity of mine, which doesn't conflict with any roles outside. In fact, all the roles will become better with that. Because as a seeker, my response will always be appropriate. Impulsiveness will get controlled. Selflessness will increase. Love, forgiveness, compassion will increase. Efficiency, alertness will increase. So if I am able to do this, that as a seeker, how do I respond at all times? In in my role as a son, as a father, as a mother, as a friend, how a seeker will respond. Then, in and through all the different identities, I am able to maintain one identity which is constant, that I am a seeker. If we understand this and if we are able to follow this, then we will be able to come to the next step, where the seeker, when one realizes that I am actually the nature of Sat Chit Ananda, that is my true nature. That is the state of realization. So as a seeker, one has to put efforts to maintain that identity, to withdraw from that which is harmful, which is negative, which is making me stay in the shell of my ego. And when we keep doing sadhana that way, the person comes to this state of a realization. What is the realization? That at all times that person is effortlessly aware that I am Sat Chit Anand. These are only the roles that I am playing. Just like the actor is effortlessly aware of one's own true identity and knows that this is just a role that I am playing. What happens with us is we don't know what is the reality, and we have taken the role to be the reality. So we get attached in that role, and that role becomes the most important aspect of my life. So here is the state of the master. Effortlessly is aware that my nature is happiness, my nature is peace, not as the individual, not as the body or the mind. Please remember that. When we use the word I or my, in this case it means the person who has transcended the identification with body, mind and intellect. Using the body, mind, intellect, that person transacts with the world, but every moment aware that this is only a role, this is not me. Just like we use anything, we are using this glass, this mic, the remote, the book. That doesn't contradict with our knowledge. When we know this is a thing, we are utilizing it. But today that is not happening with the body, mind, intellect. So a master is able to do that. And hence, in whatever state the equipment is, yoga or bhoga, the body may be enjoying something pleasurable, mind may be feeling joy about it, intellect may be feeling satisfied that I got this. But the realization of the master is such that one knows that this is the state of the equipment, this is not me, I am different from it. And same way, it is the state of the equipment that one is able to withdraw in meditation. Withdraw from the senses, sense objects, withdraw from the senses, the mind, the intellect. So quietude of the equipment and activity of the equipment does not contradict the knowledge. And one knows that this is the state of the equipment. That capacity is what one has to cultivate. Then no matter what the equipment is doing, nothing will happen. You see, this line, when it is not understood properly and one wants to use this as an escape, so many places you will find in the name of spirituality tremendous amount of indulgence happening. Eat anything, talk anything, do anything, live with anybody, anyhow, no rules, be a free bird, which is all absolute escapism. Because there only the identity that I am a pleasurable, I am a bhogi, that gets strengthened. That is not true spirituality. True spirituality is to make us come to the identity that I am a seeker, where I am able to integrate my body, mind, intellect and rise above the identification to gain the self-knowledge. Having attained that absolute truth, then no matter what happens to the equipment, then there is no problem. But without attaining that state, if one just thinks that I will do this, I will do that, there is no need of rules, then that is misleading. That's why Samarth Ramdas said very nicely, he said that if there is a guru who tells you not to live in self-control, run away from that guru. Because that person himself is a bhogi and he will make you also a bhogi. So yogaratova bhogaratova. This is the state of a master after doing all the sadhana and attaining effortless abidance in the truth. Which is what we have to attain by our effort. Yogaratova bhogaratova. Sangaratova sangavihina. Whether one is with people, like you see masters who are very dynamic. Vivekanandji, Gurudev, Samarth Ramdas. So many of these great masters who have been missionaries, who have been with people, running organizations, initiating projects, constantly having to build teams, work with them. Whether they are with people, very dynamic, or whether they are in solitude. Sangaratova sangavihina. Either state doesn't affect them. With people, if they are, the ego doesn't go up saying, I have created these teams, I have built this organization, I am doing this, I am doing that. And without people, they don't feel lonely. There is nobody. Why? Because attachment to these things has gone. One has attained the supreme, gaining which nothing more remains to be gained. So all activity also is out of fulfillment for them. It is not to gain happiness, to gain something else. It is the expression of their realization and their joy. So whether they are active or they are withdrawn, it makes no difference to them. Why? Because of the third line. Yasya brahmani ramate chittam. Ram means to revel. One revels in something which is so noble. Otherwise the other ram makes us revel in something else only. Here brahmani ramate. The word Ram also comes from that dhatu. One who revels in everyone. Meaning Ram means that Ananda which is there in the hearts of everyone and in whom everyone rejoices. That is Ram. So Brahmani Ramate Chittam. The mind of that person is absorbed in that state of Brahman. Meaning it has lost itself. Like the salt doll goes to measure the ocean, what will happen to the salt doll? It will dissolve and it will become one with it. In that same way, the mind of this person, when it is said revels in Brahman, meaning that mind is gone. The psychological mind, please remember. Functionally, whatever has to be there will continue. From our standpoint, we will still see the master knowing one's own name and the functional distinction. One will remember all that. But psychologically, the difference that I am different, you are different, world is different, all that goes away. Like the dreamer who has woken up will realize that the whole dream world was nothing but me only. So realized master is like that dreamer who has woken up but comes back into the dream, knowing fully well that all this is me only. So the attachment to one body and one equipment is not there. It is with everyone. So yasya brahmani ramate chittam. One who has lost, meaning completely surrendered the ego in language of devotion, or one who has completely transcended the identification and attached oneself to the self. Such a person, what is the experience? Nandati, nandati, nandati eva. That person rejoices. 3 times nandati is said. Why? It means that there is no sorrow in the life of that person, absolutely. In any state the body, mind, intellect may be, the person remains in that state of bliss. What is our condition? Yogarato va bhogarato va sangarato va sangavihina. Third line will be different for us. Instead of yasya brahmani ramate chittam, it will be Yasya Yasya jagati ramate chittam rodati rodati rodatyeva. Keeps crying, crying and crying only. No matter what is that state, whether you get something or you don't get something. Misery. Did I tell you that anecdote about Lulu? I didn't tell you about Lulu? Long back I told you, no? Lulu. So there was this man who was a psychiatrist, and his friend came one day to meet him. So he said, today, I have to go to the asylum. Will you come with me? So he said, okay, I will come. So he took him there. So when he took him there, he saw all different types of people who are there. They have different mental challenges. So somebody is sitting alone, very sad and depressed. Somebody is talking to oneself. Somebody is scratching the head. Somebody is, very, very disturbed and angry. There was one person who was sitting there, and he had a picture in his hand, and he says, Lulu, my dear Lulu, I love you, Lulu. And he kept on crying. So I said, Arey, kya ho gaya? He said, this man was in love with this girl called Lulu, and he could not marry her. He lost his mental balance, and now he keeps on looking at the picture and he's so desperate. So sad. Then they go ahead. After 2-3 beds they cross, they find another man sitting there with another picture in the hand, and he say, Arey Lulu. He said, what happened to him? He said, he is mad because he couldn't marry Lulu, and he is mad because he married Lulu. By the way, the word Lulu means beautiful. In Middle East, they call a person who is beautiful, very beautiful, as Lulu. So you can go and call whoever you want Lulu, if you like to. So the point is, whether one gets or one doesn't get. In the world we think happiness lies in getting things which we desire. That is not a right idea. We get pleasure when we get things. And that same thing is the seed of sorrow, because it will go away. Or I will go away. Or it will cease to give the same amount of pleasure. So happiness comes truly, lasting happiness comes truly, only when the individuality is dissolved. So yasya brahmani ramate chittam nandati nandati nandatyeva. In the world there are 3 types of sorrows we go through. Sorrow from people around us, sorrow from the cosmic forces, and sorrow from within. So 3 times when nandati 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 is said, it means that at all times here is a person who can remain happy. And one place Gurudev autographed for somebody, and he wrote to that person, refuse to be miserable. Just refuse to be miserable. Our nature is Ananda, and the way to experience that Ananda is Ananda only. Misery cannot be the way to experience bliss. The way to truth cannot be untruth. Truth is the way to truth. Same way, the way to love cannot be hatred. Love is the way to love. So if my goal is that I must reach that state of love, of freedom, of lasting happiness, then my way also must be like that. For which the mind must get slowly pure, selfless. So if we say refuse to be miserable, that is my sadhana. That come what may, I shall not be miserable. So this is the goal that I have to achieve. And compared to this goal, everything else is so small. So if this goal is kept in mind at all times, that this is my goal, that the individuality must dissolve, and that can happen only in the state of love. So can I remain in the state of love at all times? We earlier spoke about it from the standpoint of knowledge, that effortlessly I am aware of my identity. In other ways, it is that can I remain always in the state of love? Because ego and love, they are opposites. So whenever I am in the state of love, I am away from the ego. So the moment individuality rises, can I invoke something in me which will allow that individuality to surrender and love to arise in my heart? So keeping that goal in mind, that this is the goal of dissolving the ego, of reaching that state of complete love, of effortless awareness of the truth, may we ensure that our mind doesn't get occupied by petty little things. Because what disturbs us is our attachment. And here is the person who has attained that state, that nothing disturbs that person, nothing. In the Gita it is said, heaviest of sorrows cannot shake that person. Buddha was stoned so many times because people thought that he was brainwashing the youngsters to adopt spirituality. Jesus got crucified. Gyaneshwar Maharaj was ill-treated so much. Mirabai was given poison. But none of this affected any of these people. And don't get scared कि अरे मुझे क्या कर देंगे पता नहीं. Idea is to know that these are the masters who have attained such a state that whether even if they are praised, see, we just saw the difficult part. Even when they are praised, how much Vivekananda was adored when he came back to India. When he was in India, people didn't even bother about him. For 8 years he went around. Nobody bothered about him. But when he went abroad and he spoke at the World Parliament of Religions and then he came back, what a reception he got. In all that praise also, their mind doesn't get disturbed. Gurudev was given a citation by the UN on a recognition for the work that he has done for humanity and for the cause of Hindu culture. So there was an award that UN gave him. And he couldn't go to receive that award, so somebody else collected on his behalf. And from Chennai it was to be brought here. And so some chicks or youngsters who were coming, they were given that award by the committee saying, you take it and give it to Gurudev. So they brought, and from the station they got down, got into a cab, and then they came and they got down at the ashram and paid the cab fellow everything over. And what happened? Forgot it in the cab only. Imagine what you and I would have done. You don't know what it was. It's an award of UN. Gurudev said, did you lose any money? Do you have your belongings with you? He said, we have all that, but we are very sorry we left that. He says, never mind. 2 words, never mind, over. So, the capacity to remain that way, equanimous, come what may. And Gurudev used to give us these 2 words. One is never mind. Sometimes he will crack a joke in his talk, which people won't get only. So then he will say, never mind. And the moment he says never mind, then people get it. Arey, it was a joke. Never mind, leave it. Or so what? These are two words he used to give. So what and never mind. And just live with that sadhana, that let my mind be reveling in that truth, reveling in that goal that I have chosen. So this is the state of the realized master, and one must keep this in the mind.
You said self-realized master had choice to be with the truth or to just be with this samsaric life?
No, they are with the truth at all times, but the choice is only whether they become active and share it with people, or they remain in silence by themselves. That's what they choose.
If in that state someone drops the body, it he is
Jivan
he
Mukta.
will not come to.
That person is liberated by living itself. Now, for that person is already in the state of freedom. But the body you and I are seeing, and because the body has its own prarabdha karma, so till that it will last, then it will drop. Person is free even while living, that's why it is called Jivan Mukti. And when the body drops, even that final equipment is gone, there is no coming back for that person as a jiva. Because that person already has realized that I am one with the Absolute. So I am all this.
Swamiji, is it really possible that like in family life you can achieve that state? I don't like
Possible.
so many distractions.
No, agreed, there are distractions, agreed there are difficulties, but the point is that we attain what we focus on. In and through everything, if my mind remains focused that this is my goal, my family life becomes a means. In fact, family life is the means, it is not the goal of life, right? If I live that family life with the attitude that I am Brahman, I am serving them, even if you have the attitude that I am Brahman, no problem, that's the best attitude actually. I am Brahman playing the role of a son, of a daughter, as a friend. If that sadhana I can do, remaining where I am, I will realize the truth. Because to realize this truth, one doesn't have to go anywhere else. It is in our own heart. All that it requires is attention should turn towards it. Bas. Why is this even required right now? We are talking something else and it takes so much of time to build up the thought flow. It is not that one is going to be sweating right now. So what we were saying is that it is not the place, it is not the circumstances around, it is the attitude with which one is going to face it. If you see majority of the saints in Indian culture, they all are grahasthis. All the gods, in fact. We don't have a sannyasi god at all. All the gods are grahasthis. So why it is depicted that way? Because that is possible to realize. The attitude towards family life has to be clear. That this is a means to purify my mind, one. And two, it is not the goal. Because for us it becomes the goal. That's it. Once I am a householder, I am a householder, settled. So if I don't remember that goal and if I don't tune my inner attitude towards that, then it becomes difficult. That's why we said in the beginning, can I respond to everything as a seeker? I can live in my house as a seeker. Nobody else will need to know that. It doesn't contradict or conflict with any value system outside. Even if you say that no, but there are lots of social obligations and I have to go, do it as a kartavya karma. Who said no? Why should I grumble through it? If there are so many weddings I have to go to, or there are parties that my children and my husband want me to attend, or they want me to go on a vacation, or they want me to work full day in the house, it will not conflict with the inner attitude. My attitude I can change. That if this is what I have to do, I will do it happily, gladly, selflessly. I am not going to lose anything. The notion that all this is bondage and spirituality is something else is a wrong notion. Spirituality is here and now. Just that inner attitude changes, bas. Which is the attitude of giving, which is the attitude of serving, which is the attitude of letting go. That's why I always say that what is the success of a grahasthi's life? How do I know that my life as a grahasthi is successful? if I have learned the art of letting go, my life of a grahastha is successful. And if I have learned to surrender and accept life as it comes, I am successful as a grahastha. Nothing else is required. And that is the important part. If we don't do that, no matter what else we do, we will keep feeling bondage only. Even if I am not a grahastha. Do we see that so many people, don't we see? They don't even have family, they are individuals, but are they feeling free? We always that the mind plays the trick that grass on the other side looks green. The person who is in the family feels कि अरे तो इतना free है. A person who is free always feels कि अरे इनको तो क्या है, they are so comfortable in their family. But the attitude is inside is the most important.
Convince yourself to let go because the pain is continuing. Because that's what happens. Your people are not going to change. Then becomes very difficult to convince oneself to let go. And then let go.
So first one has to know that is there a choice in letting go or not letting go. Honestly, there is no choice. What will happen to me if I don't let go? Think about it. Am I going to be peaceful by not letting go? I am going to be miserable. No? If I don't let go also, resentment is going to build up in my own heart. So I am letting go because of my peace, number one. And if there is this idea that every time I have to let go, I must let go. Let us not take it personally as an ego issue there. And ultimately, if it comes to fight. There is no problem. Vedanta never says that don't fight. But don't fight with conflict inside. Mahabharata war happened or not? But when it happened? After they continuously keep letting go. Pandavas also, that depiction of Mahabharata war is an example that Pandavas represent that human tendency where one will keep feeling. In the Pandavas, Yudhishthir was the only person who kept on letting go. Bhim, Arjun, Nakul, Sahadev, Draupadi, they all kept boiling from inside that what is this that is happening? And we want to retaliate and we want to break dharma and we want to fight it out and we want to, destroy them. Yudhishthir kept them under control, saying nothing doing. Your dharma, you have to follow for your sake, not for other people's sake. And he kept teaching them to let go, let go, let go, let go. And Pandavas were ready till the last step to let go of everything. But when that did not happen, that they are not given even one house, then it was no more a fight for personal property. Now it is a fight for dharma because it is their duty to protect dharma. They are Kshatriyas. So Vedanta doesn't say keep letting go and become a doormat. I keep letting go, and in letting go there should not be ego. That is what first I have to learn. It may seem idealistic, but that is the only way to peace, by the way. Just because public doesn't follow that doesn't mean anything. Because if I don't let go, there is no other choice. I am boiling within. For the mistake of somebody out there who is not going to change, which I have accepted, and yet I don't want to let go. So what am I doing actually? Just building a grudge against that person, that is called dvesha. So dvesha keeps building in my mind. And there are ways to let go, there are ways to communicate to them. You can defend yourself also, all that is possible. But all this should be done without losing that sense of balance and the sense of identity from within. If I constantly tell myself that I will respond to this as a seeker will respond, yes. That is my sadhana, that is the hard work that I have to do. And I am telling you, there is no power in the world greater than love. There is no power. Where there is love, letting go happens. How much we let go with our children, no? Why? Because my child. However bad the fellow is, he is my child. I have to let go. I learn to let go because there is love. So that letting go has to happen, and ultimately that is not the solution, and if that is the solution is to fight it out, then fight it out, there is no problem. But fight it out as a seeker there also. That doesn't mean that I break all boundaries, do anything, harm, endure, because that is going to destroy me first, which we always forget. Dvesha, the word comes from dvi visha. Not exactly etymological, but if you split, it is double poison. Before that poison is thrown at other person, it affects me. When I build up dvesha, my heart is polluted first. Then my speech, my actions get polluted, and it appears that I am hurting that person. Sometimes that person also gets hurt, but otherwise that doesn't happen. I suffer more in that than the other person. So if I am aware and sensitive about that, where we get stuck, I'll tell you. We get stuck in one-upmanship. That is the ego. I have to prove that I am right, he is wrong. Bas, that is where we get stuck. And by letting go, we feel that we are weaker and that person has become stronger and I have surrendered to that person. Now those things I have to undo in my mind. By letting go, I am not becoming weaker. Even if that person thinks I am becoming weaker, that is his or her problem. I have attained peace when I have let go of the internal conflict. Externally, if I have to do something as my duty, I will still do. Like if a mother has to discipline the child, the mother will discipline the child. But not out of so much of disturbance within. Let's go, the child is immature. But I need to do as a duty outside, so I will discipline. So that is how that will work. So in Grahasthi's life itself, this can be practiced. And it is about my evolution. It is not about other people. So this is the goal of life, and if I constantly keep this in mind, that my goal of life is this third line. Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chittam. Does my mind revel in Brahman? Does my mind remain in the state of love? That I have to practice. Then I can rise above pettiness. It is sad actually that when this goal of life is not clear to us, that is why we get stuck in pettiness. And just imagine when so many of us are coming here and we are studying this and we are even aware of this. There are so many out there who don't even know what is the goal of life. Is it not natural that they will be stuck in something which is small, ordinary, because ego is that much, it's very limited. And they will cling to that ego or not. And that is why the person who learns, who becomes knowledgeable, one of the signs of that person is compassion. Because at a certain stage we were also like that. We also didn't know that there are these higher ways of living. We were also clinging to the ego, behaving in a very petty, childish way, immaturely, hurting people, harming them. Because selfishness is the way of life. But once I have come to understand all this, compassion flows. That's why in the 12th chapter of the Gita it is said, the qualities of the devotee starts with this shloka, Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam. That if I cannot love everybody, at least can I come to that state where I don't hate people, things, beings. Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam. Don't have dvesha towards anybody. Towards those who are loving to you, you can have maitri or mitrata, that is friendship. And towards those who are injuring us, hurting us, have karuna. So how to be Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam? Maitra Karuna Evacha. So that elaborates. That towards people who are good to us, have friendly nature. And people who are harming us, don't hate them. You don't even have to be extra loving to them or normally loving to them. Be compassionate. Have sympathy in the mind, compassion in the mind. That why are they doing that? Because they are stuck somewhere in their own ego, in their own pettiness, in their own selfishness. At one point in time we were also like that. So with that karuna, one can then let go, saying it's okay, leave it. Doesn't stop us from doing other things like telling them that this is hurting, this is not appropriate. Or even if we have to take the fight to the other camp at the last step, one can do that. But the attitude must be karuna, which is the uniqueness of the Hindu culture, where Bhagavan tells Arjuna that you have karuna inside, compassion inside, but you have to fight outside. So that is your duty externally. So keeping this goal in the mind and keeping the means also, that our attempt is to maintain the same identity. Now we move ahead. How to do that? So in the next shloka, 4 beautiful points are given. Bhagavad Gita kinchidadhita Ganga jala lava kanika pita Sakridapiyena murari samarcha Kriyate tasya yamena na charcha Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Modhamate. Bhagavad Gita kinchidadhita Ganga jalalava kanika pita Sakridapiyena murari samarcha Kriyate tasya yamena na charcha Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Modhamate. So 3 methods are pointed out at 3 different levels. First is Bhagavad Gita kinchid adhita. Study the Gita even a little bit and live the Gita. So adhita means, dhi means buddhi. To bring it into our buddhi, meaning to be convinced by it and then to live it. It is not said chant the Gita only or read the Gita. Then it would have been patita. Bhagavad Gita kinchit patita. It is said adhita, meaning when you read, let that reading or that satsang translate into my conviction that yes, this is what is the right way of living or the higher way of living. And when that conviction comes, it will manifest into action. So if I am convinced that forgiveness, letting go, devotion, that is the way to live, then I will live. So Bhagavad Gita kinchidadhita. Even 1/4 of a Gita one can live, 1/4 verse. Niyatam kuru karmatvam. Do your daily obligatory duties without fail. Or mam ekam sharanam vraja. Bhagavan says, you surrender unto me alone. Anything, one can live 1/4 also. Then that is Bhagavad Gita kinchidadhita. Just one line one has lived. Ganga jala lava kanika pita. 1 drop of Ganges water. So Bhagavad Gita is to keep ourselves intellectually inspired and convinced. Ganga jala lava kanika pita means 1 drop of water of Gangaji. Gangaji is the symbol of devotion. She is the symbol of knowledge that has passed on from the Guru Shishya Parampara and come to us. So that 1 drop of Gangaji, that's why when a person is passing on from this body to the next, they say that give 1 drop of Ganga water or 1 tulsi leaf. The idea is Ganga symbolizes knowledge, devotion and seva. How much she flows to serve so many people. Devotion, because it is said that from the jata of Shivji she comes out. From the feet of Vishnu to the jata of Shivji to the earth. That is symbolic representation. And then Sakridapiyena Murari Samarcha. If one serves Murari, Shri Krishna or the Supreme Lord, even a little bit, meaning in my daily life, I have that attitude that in and through all my actions I am serving Bhagavan alone. So these three, intellectually, to convince myself, I study the Gita a little bit. Ganga Jala Lavakanika Pita, meaning let there be practices which invoke devotion in my heart. And Sakridapiyena Murari Samarcha means giving up this ego, destroying the ego through the bhava of selflessness in serving people. If a person does these three, or even one of these three, Kriyate Tasya Yamena na Charcha, Lord Yama will not even discuss about this person. Meaning, one will attain that state of fulfillment which was said in the earlier sloka. So that which we saw, that we keep changing our identity, Yama or death in Vedanta means change. To abide in that which is changeless, the effortless awareness or the state of love, that can happen when we do these three sadhanas.
He has gone beyond death.
That person goes beyond change and hence beyond death.